what to rent, and what to skip. It's Movie Reviews with Ryan J.
That's right, we're back now with the nationally syndicated film critic Ryan J. Good to see you. Happy Friday.
Great to see you. You too.
Yeah. So right now, what movie season are we in?
Well, it's a really interesting time right now because we're sort of after the summer blockbuster movies and right before all the Oscar contenders are going to start coming out in, mid-October through the end of the year.
That doesn't sound like a good space.
No, but but it normally wasn't that bad for September, and it's just kind of no man's land. That's what we used to refer to January and February as. But now, this year, we don't really have much going on in September. I don't know if it's because of back to school or football season, but there's just not a lot going on for movies right now. That being said, we do have a couple decent movies this week.
Okay, yeah, let's start with The November Man, rated R.
Yes, this is the movie that some are considering to be Pierce Brosnan's desperate attempt to reclaim his days of James Bond. Exactly.
Desperate does not sound good. How's the action? Because I was watching some of the previews, because this is airing a lot. I feel like they're doing a lot of marketing for it, and it looks like it should be good action. Is it good action?
It's pretty good action. It's sort of like a B-movie version of Mission Impossible or a James Bond movie. It's good, but not great. When it comes to the action, and one of the ways that this movie really could have benefited would have been had they had one of those moments of really awe-inspiring or jaw-dropping action.
Like when in that one movie when he steps out of the car while it's moving?
Exactly, and you're like, wow, I've never seen anything like that before in an action scene. This movie's all kind of just like been there, done that as far as the action. It's good, but not great.
So is the plot then kind of straightforward?
No, actually. It's super confusing, and we had a movie club for this movie, and I talked to everybody after the screening, and everyone agreed it's linear, but there's so many characters coming at you so fast, and there's so much information that you're really confused for much of the movie until there's like a twist about halfway through and things start to make sense, and then I was like, okay, it's a good movie because I could follow it at that point.
Okay.
But I don't like those movies where usually you just can't figure out what's going on. That's a problem with the script.
Pay so much attention. Who's the girl? It almost looked a little like Jennifer Lawrence, but it's not.
Right. Her name is Olga Kurilenko, and she's a Ukrainian.
Say that 5 times fast.
Right. She's a Ukrainian supermodel and actress, and you can really tell that she's a model because she's very statuesque. She's gorgeous. But I don't think she's the best actress. I didn't love her when she did Oblivion with Tom Cruise, and she's just kind of does acting, with her body, right? She's so beautiful that she deserves to be on screen, but she doesn't have a lot of expression.
Better or worse than Megan Fox? Because I feel like Megan Fox is kind of like used as a beauty.
I feel bad for Megan Fox too, but maybe she's a little better than Megan Fox.
All right, I like that.
And what part does Pierce play then?
He plays a man named Peter Devereaux, which is interesting because there's no recognition with that character, which also is a challenge for this movie, but it's a smart casting to have Pierce Brosnan because we have that familiarity of him having been James Bond. Him playing an ex-CIA operative in this movie kind of gives you that familiarity, and you kind of buy into it and believe it a little bit more because of that.
Does he look good in it?
He's so handsome.
Oh, he looks great. He looks great. And I'm saying see it because, it's kind of slim pickings at the box office right now. And so, this is one to definitely check out. It's fun. Spy action thriller, so why not?
I think I'd like that one. All right, I liked in the ads too when they're like November Man, because as soon as you come through, everything dies.
Right. At least they explain why it's called November Man, coming out in August.
Right, I know. I like that. So that was good. Okay, the next one is The One I Love, rated R.
This movie is very interesting. It stars Mark Duplass and Elizabeth Moss. She's from Mad Men, and it's really interesting because it's being sold as a romantic comedy, and I would never call it that. All I'd heard about this movie prior to seeing it was that something mystical happens, and we can't tell you what goes on because they don't want to ruin it, but I was very intrigued by that.
What is the mystery with this movie then?
Well, it's interesting because it's sort of, again, I don't want to do any spoilers, but it kind of becomes more like an episode of The Twilight Zone than a typical romantic comedy, and I loved it because it's really bold. It sort of raises these really deep questions and then crosses the line and answers them and gives you answers. So I really, really liked that aspect of it.
That's a big deal because a lot of times if they raise those bold questions, they leave them out there for you to answer.
Yeah, and you don't get the answers, and that's frustrating in a movie sometimes.
So you felt like you were kind of in sync with this movie, you said to us
Absolutely.
earlier?
There were certain moments where I was getting frustrated, thinking oh, why don't you just, go in that room, or why don't you talk to that person? And each time while watching this movie, when I would have a thought like that, one of the characters would then do exactly what I was thinking they should do. And I loved that because then it kind of like, makes you feel like, oh, they're giving you all the answers and everything. This is one to rent. It's available right now on iTunes or on download on demand.
So it's not even in the theaters?
It is in select cities, not in Milwaukee right now. So I'm saying rent it. I loved this movie. If you like a very unique, kind of fresh, intriguing film, this is one to check out.
Okay.
That's great. That's good. And I love Elizabeth Moss from Mad Men. I think she's
cool.
great. Yeah, that's really awesome. All right, so for Ryan's full movie reviews, you can like him on Facebook, follow him on Twitter, and again, full movie reviews are on his website, ryanjreviews.com.
Maybe the mystic part is now that you can predict what's going to happen since you're so in sync.
Exactly.
You're sending them the
I like
vibe.
that. Totally.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you, too.